Hey everybody, it's Jason here. I wanted to do kind of a quick uh, Kerbal video or Kerbal Space Program. The reason being is I just recently started playing the game, and it took me a little while to kind of figure everything out. And I thought I might make this video for so that like if there were some people out there that just wanted like a quick start, maybe they could watch this real quick. You know, I'm not a mathematician, a physicist, a rocket scientist, or really even all that clever. I'm just a guy that likes to play video games and write about them. And I have done so for 20 years or so. So, without much ado, I would like to jump straight on in. So, this is just kind of assuming you're new to Kerbal Space Program, or at least new to the career mode. So we're going to go ahead and start one named Learn with, well, we'll use the NASA flag. We'll start it on up. Now the first thing that you see is, your complex. And there's a few things you could do just like right off the bat. The most important things to note here is this is research and development. That's where you get all your technology. This is where you build vehicles in the hangar. And this. And these symbols on the right, the mission control, which is right here, is where you get your missions. And this is where you gain your money. So, we're going to go ahead and grab this Gather Scientific and launch our first vessel. We can only have two right now. So, we can kind of do a couple of things real quick. It's almost like cheating, but whatever. Cheating's fun. So, we're just going to do this to make a capsule. We're going to put that on there, and I'm going to name it Explorer. And then we're going to launch it just like this. First and foremost, we're going to, once we get our dude in our little cabin here, we right click and choose Observe Mystery Goo, and we get some science. And then we right click and we do a crew report, and we get a little bit more science. And this is not very much, don't get me wrong. And then here we go. Basically all we have to do is gather some stuff. So let's hit an EVA. We drop down, our space let go, and then we're going to do a EVA report. And we get back up on the ship. And hit B to board, get back in, and recover. So we don't lose the money that way. And we complete a quick contract, which we can, go over here. And we got some science. And we can delete these little contract notices. Okay. Now we could do the same thing over here in the spaceplane hangar. So let's do that real quick. And we'll just launch like we did last time. Okay. Now we're in our space container. Let's do the mystery goo observation. Got that. A little bit more science. A crew report. We're going to EVA. Now we're going to do an EVA report. We're going to climb back in, recover the vessel. And once again, we don't lose any money for that. But we get, prestige, and we get science value, etc. So we're up to 15 science now. So here's where we go. We're going to come into our research and development. These are 5 each, and we need both of them. So we're going to go ahead and just research both. Alright. So now, what else do we have? We still have our active contract to launch our first vessel, and we need to escape the atmosphere, so our next contract. Let's go ahead and do those. Maybe even at the same time. Let's see what we've unlocked real quick. So, let's pop that up here. We're going to need a parachute on it. Did we get a decoupler yet? So we do have our TR-18A stack decoupler. Great. We don't have any thermal protection yet, and we really shouldn't need it because we're not going to get that high up. See, we've got the swivel, and that's fine. So we're going to do a bunch of fuel tanks. You hold down Alt and click on something to make a copy of it. So we just need a bunch of fuel tanks. And then we're going to need this fella here. And realistically, that's really all we're going to need. However, we are going to throw, now that we have a couple of different science things on here, we're going to throw both of those on. Make sure not to cover the hatch. And this is the new Explorer. We'll call it the Explorer 2. We'll launch. It's better if you can have like a scaffolding or something like that, but realistically right now we're just trying to get our stuff going. So you want to hit Z to put your throttle all the way to top. I like to engage stability control by hitting T for this. And you hit space to stage your rocket. So you're taking off. Once you hit about, whoa, geez, that's a little bit more responsive than I expected. Once you start getting around 300 or so, you want to kind of keep it around 300. Just because below 10,000 meters, the drag is really bad against the rocket, and you waste a lot of fuel for very little actual impact. But once it hits 10,000 meters, though, fire it up. So we're headed east, and we're going to end up over the ocean, which is what we want. It's just a safer landing. So now we're over 10,000 meters. We'll fire the rocket all the way back up. And we hit, see here. See, we launched our first vessel. Now we just got to escape the atmosphere. And we hit map. And we go in here, and we can see our apoapsis. It's quite high. Now, if we were trying to orbit, we wouldn't want that to happen, you know. But we're not. Alright, so let's stage that rocket off. Let's arm our parachute, because why not? And then the direction we are going, let's go ahead and aim it like that. Now, since we haven't done any experiments at this point, we're going to want to right click. We're going to log our temperature here. We're going to right click and we're going to do a crew report. Now, you cannot do an EVA unless you're on the planet until you do some upgrades to the actual astronaut complex. So we got our 9 science there, and like I said, you can't EVA until you do an upgrade to the astronaut complex. So for the most part, our trip right now is done. And it's pretty cool to look, and you know, and you can... But and that's our debris from the ship that's falling. So at this point, since we're going up pretty high, we can go ahead and do a little time warp. Once it gets below 70,000 meters or so, it'll drop us back down to 1 speed. So, alright. Now we can go up to a maximum of 4 below that. Alright, so we are coming in pretty fast. And we're hoping, yep, there we go. It did. I don't know what that explosion was. So we can turn off the stability assist now and let our dude just kind of rest. And we're at 4 times speed still, so this is just dropping at, you know, 4 times faster than it usually would. Okay, so we have just completed 2 contracts real fast and got us some money. So let's go and recover our vessel, and we get a ton of science out of that. Yeah, 29 science. So we're up to 59 now. Because sometimes the contracts give you science as well, is what that comes in. Now we're at 260,000, where we started at, like, not that much, not even remotely. And we have a ton of, you know, contracts open now. So let's take a look at our science and development. We need that. We certainly need those. And I would like to have this as well for orbiting, but we can go ahead and take the orbit Kerbin, and we can take a look at some of these. We can test these heat shields. Or, you know what? For right now, let's just take the orbit Kerbin. And let's see what we can build to do so. Okay, because we got new stuff now. I don't have quite the rockets that I want, but we are getting closer. So let's make a new. Hit our pod. Let's get our regular parachute. And this is just me probably, but I like to have a drag parachute as well. We have a payload section now. So what we can do to get the science we want, so we can put a payload service bay here. When we right click on it, choose open. So now we have some scientific utensils. So there's our barometer, there's our mystery goo, and there is our temperature gauge. So we can now close this. We got all that stuff inside there, and it won't burn up. Well, hopefully not. So fine. Then now that we've got some thermal protection, we got that 1 1/4 heat shield on there. So now we're ready to get some science. Fuel tanks. Let's throw some fuel tanks on here. Alright. And now we have a better engine. Yeah, just for the fun of it. It's another one. And I probably can't orbit yet, but like I said, we're trying to get some science data. And this one is uh-oh. Why not? So, now like last time, throttle up to maximum, turn on our stability assist, launch. I forgot to put a stack decoupler on here. This is probably not great news. Let's go ahead and just do revert to vehicle assembly, which, by the way, is one of the handiest things that ever existed. Because you can easily just kind of stop it in flight if you realize you screwed something up, like I did. Here we go. Let's put our decoupler on there, put our ship back together, and launch again. Now we're set to go. As long as our staging is done correctly. And staging can be, yeah, see, that is not done correctly. We need to separate those so that it doesn't, whatever, you get me. So that it doesn't unlock this the second we start the engine and just, that would be ridiculous. Alright, so we got our stability assist. Our throttle is at 100. Let's go. Okay. Alright. So like last time, we're going to use a little bit of the turn of Kerbin, you know, the spin of the planet, to help us leave the atmosphere. So we are really over speed, and that's fine. And now it's full speed again, full throttle. Ugh. Not my best flight. Okay, so if we were trying to orbit, we would get our apoapsis at 70,000, then kill the engine. I'm not sure what we have left. So I'm just going to fire it up. We just want to get high up in the air. Alright. Okay. So we're going to come down short of there, even though this will keep moving as the planet spins. We're going to come down short because I have that drag shoot. Okay, so we're out of fuel. We can separate, and then we can arm our chutes at least. What is our apoapsis now? 207,000. So let's go ahead and speed up till we're almost there, you know. And then we'll cut back down to there. We'll open our service bay and run some tests. Alright, so there's 10 science. Okay, yeah. Log temperature. Okay. There's 8 science. Let's log some pressure. It's 12 science. It's plenty. We're going to do a quick crew report. Perfect. 5 science. And we can close our bay back up. Now let's go home. And let's hope that none of this crap explodes on the way. Alright. So, here comes the fun part. Alright, aim here. Because we're going fast. Oh, hey, we're over the firmament as well. Okay, so our drag chute opened, obviously, and our regular chute deployed, and we're fine. So, no. Sure. And another fun thing you can do, something that took me a little too long to figure out that this was something you could do. There's a ton of different, like, topographies, etc. on the planet of Kerbin. Whenever you land on them, you can do a crew report from them, and it'll be like, or some points. Same thing with an EVA. You know, if you're in, like, the desert, or at the poles, or on the grasslands, or whatever, you know, you can do an EVA that, you know, will get you some extra points, science points. So, like here, if I do a crew report, no, I don't want to overwrite, but I do want to EVA, so he can go EVA report, and we see we got it from Kerbin's Grasslands. Okay, so now we recover the vessel. Now, obviously, you know, you take losses when you stage stuff off and everything, but alright, so we gained 38 science, and that's enough to get the stuff we want, and enough to make it quite easily possible for us to orbit. I hit the wrong thing. We actually need to go to science first. We can also look at mission control. Yeah, it's like, these are nice because they provide good money. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take that one because, do I have 2? Conduct a focus temperature survey. Oh god, I actually took that one? Alright, whatever. Okay. That's easy enough to do. But, so here we go. We want here, we want this and this. But we also want that, so we get that. But that's neither here nor there for the moment. Our big journey right now is to orbit. So, tastes like space. Oh. Yeah. There we go. Tastes like space. You got them tastes like space. No. Alright. So, let's throw that on there. Oh. I just wish it would just kind of pop it on there, but I understand why it doesn't. Now, we're not going to worry about the scientific data this time. I'm not super concerned about it because I just want to be able to orbit the first time, you know. So, let's get this on here. Let's get our decoupler attached. Let's get... Now, fuel tanks. We got these big guys. Okay. And then we need the Terrier here. And then we're going to need... Now, all this stuff, by the way, this is not stuff I made up. This is stuff you can find in the wikis, and there's tutorials online that are written. I'm only doing this because, to me, it's easier to watch stuff. And then here in a second, I'm going to go over what I've done. Okay, so if you had a better tank, you would want to use the 800 or whatever, because it's basically 1 instead of 2. But what we have here is we have just the basic cap, and then we have a 1 1/4 heat shield, right? And then below that we have a decoupler, 13A. This is a 400 fuel tank, a TL400 or FLT 400, and it holds 180 liquid and 220 oxidizer. Then down here we have this engine we bought, the Terrier, which is good for upper atmosphere. Once you've already got some speed going and everything, it's just a lot more efficient, but still has pretty good thrust. So then we have another decoupler under that because, of course, we don't want to carry this with us. Now, like I said, if you have a FLT 800, you'd want to use that. But since we don't, it's basically just two of those in one piece. It's like the same weight, basically, and everything. And then finally, we have the Reliant 30 here. Now, what I would like is I would like to have a structure here so that I could be holding this up for launch. So it might not go great, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to go over the takeoff again once more. This time, it's just like usual, stability assist, and then we want our throttle at 100. But we do want to make sure all of our stuff is staged correctly, and it is. So we take off, and once you hit about 100 meters a second, you're going to want to start tilting to 90 degrees. And as you get towards 300 meters per second, as I said earlier, you're going to want to back off. So we're getting up there real close. So I'm gonna cut down to kind of try to even it up. So that, yep, there we go. So we're going to try to stick around this speed. And I'm not going to be 1,000,000% accurate. Things are going to change and etc. And all the while, we want to be kind of like adjusting and going to the east a little bit and keeping our, that little green circle there. All right, so we hit Z to go to full once we hit 10,000 meters, which we just did. And now we're going to keep tilting a little bit here, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, we're using the rotation of the planet to help us out. So we're going to run out about 19,000, right around 20,000. So pop that off, fire it up. Now, we need to switch to the map view. And at this point, we also need to pay attention to the apoapsis. So it's at 60, okay, hit X once you're over 70,000. Now you can bring up this nav ball, and this is what we're actually going to use to get ourselves into orbit. So here's our fuel count. And, okay. Now, the apoapsis, like I said, is about 70,000 meters. And we're waiting till we get just... I'm going to go ahead and rotate the ship so that it's a little bit easier for me to deal with. Okay. Let's see, we're at 60,000 meters altitude. Once we hit about 63, I'm going to fire it. And here we go. Now this is going to make our apoapsis go a little nuts, but we're going to want to start dragging it downwards, alright? I don't want to start dragging it downwards. We're going to want to keep it like, we want to be maybe about this much distance between the ship and the apoapsis. And we want to keep it above 70,000 meters as well. So we're getting close. I'm going to start adjusting. I'm going to drop my speed a little bit. Alright, alright, alright. Okay. Okay. Alright, I'm a little bit too... increase my speed. Alright. And it's slowly expanding it out, right? We got a pretty good amount of fuel left. About a little under half a tank. So what we're trying to do is get that oval to expand around the planet. Which we're doing okay. We're on schedule, kinda. We're in Space Church right now. I wonder if we missed it. Looks like we did. Dang. Just barely. It's not a good orbit. It's a shame. Yeah, our periapsis is way too low. But that is the concept. I think, Anyway, we are in orbit. Well, not really. We're almost in orbit. Let's go back to staging view. We can drop off our rocket. Now, we can do stuff like crew report. Oh, that's right. An EV. Oh, I can't EVA yet, though. I forgot to upgrade my astronaut complex. So our apoapsis is pretty low. Or not. I mean, our periapsis, whatever the hell. So let's just speed it up and re-enter, because it's certainly going to re-enter when it hits the periapsis. Yeah, we're gonna re-enter pretty crazy. Now, let me get this lined up a little bit. As I said before, I've got a heat shield on the bottom, so I just kind of want to make sure that we keep the bottom pointed in the right direction. And this will take us a moment to land. Maybe we'll land somewhere interesting. In the water, EVA in the water, and oh yeah, re-entry. Come on now. I know you got it. Our drag chute takes off. Alright, so where are we here? I wonder. Oh, I am a pretty good ways from home, though, at least. Interesting. Of course, now, like, if I want, I can, like, cut that parachute. It's going to make us drop faster, but should be fine still. The only thing that sucks about stuff like this is you can land on, like, the side of a mountain, roll down it, and explode. Which has happened to me a bunch after, like, otherwise successful trips, which just kind of hurts your feelings. Okay, so I'm going to do a crew report, do an EVA report. And then I'm going to open these. No, I didn't bring any. Okay, so let's just recover our vessel. Now let's take a look, because there's a couple other options and I want to go over real fast. So gain some science. But here, let's go ahead and one thing I like to do, there's a couple of things I like to do. First, I want to go over to the astronaut complex. I want to upgrade it. That means we can EVA. I want to upgrade the launch pad. That means we can have a lot more weight. So what does that mean? That means that I wonder if I actually have the science to buy that. Probably not. Actually, I do. So we got some vertical stack decouplers. I upgraded the runway so that we can have a really tall, really heavy ship. Because you have to do that before. But anyway, so okay, let's get some radial couplers. And then let's get some solid fuel boosters. Little aerodynamic cones on top. Now, we'll be able to orbit with this thing. So, yes. Now comes the question of, do we take scientific stuff up with us? And I believe I think we should just test this one before we even bother, you know what I mean? So, let's do that. Now, solid fuel. Solid fuel is a little different. You don't get to control solid fuel at all. So, it just burns out, then you decouple it. Let's see what happens. It's like the brute force method of rocketry, basically. This is going to be entertaining, by the way. Yeah. So, I have just an ungodly amount of fuel now, right? So we can 1,000,000% orbit with this vehicle. We could probably even maybe orbit the moon with this vehicle, but we'll get to that some other time. And we can go, like I said, did before. I like to rotate so that my nav wheel is kind of centered for me. I mean, it's not, perfect. And stability assist helps. So, with it, I'm using a keyboard to do it, and like analog would be a lot better for this process. But you get what you do, what you do. So anyway, we're at 77,000. Let's go ahead and let's have some fun. Let's begin an orbit. I know I'll be able to orbit this way. Like I said, it's just the brute force method. Like the original was like a really elegant way to do it with like not a lot of just kind of waste and everything. Alright, let me try to real map lapse this in a little bit. Cause it's like in the zone right now. alright. Let me stage. Yeah, well, we certainly probably got it this time. Yeah, it won't be far off. No, I want to perhaps this over 70,000. Let's get it to 100,000. Okay, and we've got plenty of fuel left. So now we are officially in orbit. And it's like, yay, orbit. And if we want to leave orbit, once we hit that apoapsis, what we would do is we would turn our ship to, or not the, yeah, to retrograde. And we would burn retrograde until our periapsis dropped below 70,000 meters, and then we'd be degrading. Of course, lower you get, I mean, below 70,000 meters, your orbit decays. Is basically what I'm saying. So you wouldn't have to, you wouldn't. I don't know. You wouldn't do something. Hell, I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. So now let's get back to our ship. Of course, we don't want to stage anything because we still have plenty of fuel, and that's how we get home. Icon EVA from the orbit over the planet is pretty sweet. Board the ship. And I don't think I took any scientific stuff, so just for fun. I mean, let's let it orbit a bit, shall we? Let's increase the speed and we'll orbit the planet some. It's pretty cool. And that is how you orbit Kerbin. I'll just think. I only gotta get out all these. Jeez. That's pretty awesome. I'm still real new to the game, though, so orbit's a pretty good big deal for me. Orbit's a big deal for me. I wonder if I can do my observation from space. That would be awesome. What was it? It's the temperature. I don't have a thermometer anyway. So anyway, we've orbited the planet a bit. Let's prepare to go home. Wait, why am I not controlling my ship? Do I have to be at like 1? I guess so. Okay, so we get to retrograde. Right now. And we're all 181,507. Okay, so we are almost there. And as soon as we hit it, we are going to burn like hell. Alright. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Burn. Now, we'll watch our periapsis drop. Alright. So, let's cut it off. Because now, well, we could re-enter, you know, I mean, or like, can basically choose to go where we want. I kind of wondered if I was to point this way and fire like crazy if I could get to the North Pole for... Because it'll move it, you know, it'll certainly move it. Oh wait, I'm turnips. No shit. Oh, no wonder. Alright. I'm gonna stop being stupid and just retrograde the ship. Yeah. Okay. And we don't want our guy to die, so we are going to release that and go ahead and launch. I was thinking, well, maybe we could save, but I don't want to take re-entry with some fuel tanks. So surface. Now, retrograde once more. And then let's speed it back up. Okay. Now we're getting ready to re-enter. Once your guys level up some, you can have them be a lot better at flying and doing cool stuff. And they'll have more options over here other than just stability assist. Alright, come on, you're fine. There we go. I wonder if he could EVA right now without being murdered. Let's find out. Oh shit. That seems bad. Yeah, this seems real bad. Fella. You don't want that. So anyway, that's how you orbit the planet. And I think we'll just wrap it up there. If I hadn't have been stupid and tried to EVA it, it would have been perfectly fine. But anyway, thank you for watching my Kerbal video, and I'll probably be making more as we go along. But, you know, I hope this helps would-be space explorers. Everybody take care. Follow me on Twitch at JV McMaster. On YouTube is just Jason McMaster, or Twitter, just McMaster. Everybody have a great day, and take care. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.